what are the three main points that you're standing for?
Okay, my three main issues are around items that are in the Cromwell Master Plan, which are housing, so the availability and affordability of residential housing that's planned in a managed way. The second one is about the Memorial Hall and us making provision for that to be rebuilt in this term. We know that that's what the community wants, and the spatial plan has identified that cultural and heritage precinct down where the current hall sits, with links to the old Cromwell heritage precinct, which makes sense to me. And the third of those is our town centre, or our lack of town centre, which is the Cromwell Mall, which obviously needs some sort of a facelift. And it's about how do we actually make that happen, and what are the things that are going to actually make a difference to that, including should there be residential development in and around that area to create footfall.
Great, you've stolen my thunder, and I will come back to some of those issues.
Okay, cool.
What's your position on growth?
My position on growth, I don't think that you can look at growth as being good or bad. I think that we have to accept the inevitability of growth in this area, and that we have to understand that the only way we can manage growth is by planning for residential development, by thinking about what the impacts are for our community and making sure that we're ready for those. I don't think we can stop it. I don't think you can say it's bad, let's not do it. I think you can only say, we know it's going to happen, how are we going to be ready for it? And so that's, I think, where the master plan and the spatial framework comes in.
What should happen to the Cromwell Memorial Hall?
Right, well, I believe that we should go with what's come out in the master plan. I think that 17 years is too long to wait for a decision in development. I think that the previous community board thought that they'd got the renovation over the line, and actually if that had happened it would all be done and dusted by now, and we would be using a newly upgraded facility while we were making decisions about what to do with the current facility. But as it is, we now have a lemon sitting down on the waterfront that will be replaced, but we're now going to have to wait while that goes through long-term plan process, design processes, and I'm sure that the Cultural Centre Trust will be highly involved in that. Right.
Great. The Cromwell Mall, the retail heart of the town, how can we help ensure it's a vibrant place for businesses, for visitors and for locals? I
think that I agree with what the experts who came over from Melbourne came and said to us, is that one of the major issues in the mall isn't about its layout, isn't about its inward-facing nature, it's about the footfall in the mall. And I think that that's about the fact that there's nobody living there, so there's nobody using it apart from business hours of 9 to 5 a day. So retail is something that is a dying thing everywhere in the world. With 5 Mile and Remarkables Park in Queenstown, we have access to the sort of retail that we want to go and access. Like if you're a Kmart shopper or a warehouse shopper or a Spotlight shopper or a Countdown shopper or a Pack and Save shopper, those things are sort of all over there, and we're not going to attract those anchor retailers into our town. We're too small and will remain too small for that. So I think we've got to think about it in different ways. I think that the spatial plan identified the town centre as maybe becoming more of a civic hub. Maybe that's where we have a revitalised, modern 21st century library facility and relook at our council facilities that are in Cromwell. Bargaritas and Amigos have absolutely rejuvenated a certain part of the mall, so maybe we need to be looking at how we attract those types of businesses, that we attract things that people really want to go and see and do. I think there's still work to do around parking, around opening it up, and around changing some of the shared spaces to make them more attractive and usable for everybody. But I think that's probably the most complex of the issues that we face, is how we turn that one around.
Tell us a bit about yourself and what makes you feel emotional about this community.
Okay. I am principal at Goldfields Primary. I have 3 sons who are in various stages of adulthood. all early adulthood. My eldest is 24, my youngest is 19. My 19-year-old is still in Cromwell. We moved here when our children were really little. I had 2 preschoolers and 1 at school, and we loved living in Cromwell for what it gave to our children. We loved the freedoms that they got that they wouldn't get in a city. We really liked the connections that we were able to make in the community through the sports our kids were involved in, and through the school and through the activities that they were involved in. I think that we've brought our kids up here. This is their home that they come back to, and that makes us really deeply emotionally connected. My husband has a business here, and so I've joked for a lot of years that I'm stuck here because this is where his business is. I couldn't go around principalship by going to a tiny little school in a tiny little area because there's not much call for joiners in small towns. So we love Central Otago, we love the connections to the outdoors, we love the opportunities it gave us for our kids in boats, on bikes, on skis and all of those things. So that's our emotional connection to the place.